So after the Celtics fell down 0-2, losing 2 games in which they led by 20, Game 3 was an obvious must-win in the Garden, and they absolutely dominated the Knicks.
Yeah, New York never led. The Celtics led by over 30 at one point, and they saved their season. For now.
Before we start talking about how the Celtics saved their season, at least for now, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. So going into this season, the Celtics were my pick to win the title. I know.
Scorching hot take
hot
right there.
take there. I'm really, just going out on a limb. But looking at the East, I mean, it didn't look like they had much competition. You had the Knicks, who, overhauled their roster. They were adding Cat, added Bridges. You had the Bucks, who maybe could be better, more of a contender with a healthy Dame and Giannis. The Cavs really weren't seen as much. Obviously, they came out of nowhere. They shocked everyone. But it looked like the Celtics had a fairly easy path to win the East. And then on the opening night, what looked like their toughest competition, they just absolutely dominate the Knicks. They win 132-109, tie the single game record for threes made in a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's opening night and you just clobber what most people feel like is your biggest challenger in the East. But, as the season went on, the Cavaliers obviously took that massive leap. Celtics actually handed the Cavs their first loss after 15 straight wins, split the season series with them 2-2. So, the Cavs kind of rose up as that challenger. And the Celtics weren't quite as dominant as they were the year prior. Jaylen Brown didn't quite have as good of a season, didn't shoot the ball as well. Drew Holiday also didn't shoot the ball as well. Porzingis had that mystery illness that kept him out for a while. But still, I mean, you win 61 games. Peyton Pritchard takes that massive leap, wins 6th man of the year, so that kind of evens out for everything. Celtics finished with the 2nd seed coming into the playoffs. There were some concerns, Jaylen Brown's knee wasn't 100% at the end of the season. Obviously, the illness with Porzingis, but they were still a pretty solid favorite, I would say, to win the Eastern Conference. Cavs being a close second. I picked the Cavs, you picked the Celtics, and I mean, you were so confident. You were labeling this playoffs as the Jason Tatum playoffs. Look, there's still time for it.
Hold on.
It's not looking great right now.
I mean, after the first round, it looked pretty good.
It did, yeah.
He really closed out the first round really well. First 2 games versus the Knicks, like you said at one point in our text, like it was on life support.
Yeah.
Game 3, he pulled back a little bit. We'll get into all that, but yeah, that take hasn't looked great. We'll start with round 1. They made quick work of the Magic, beat them in 5. Orlando did put up a fight. I mean, games 1 and 2 were close, but the Celtics still go up 2-0. Then Orlando takes game 3, but ultimately the Celtics take the series in 5, thanks to Tatum dropping 35 plus in 3 straight games. And then we got this series against the Knicks. I mean, the Celtics swept the regular season 4-0. It really has felt like the entire season, and even kind of in the playoffs, that the Knicks are just like pretenders. They couldn't beat any good team during the regular season, so I think most people were saying, Boston is going to win this series in 6. Maybe they win in 5. In game 1, it looked like that was going to be the case. The Celtics led 61-45 at halftime. They extended that lead to 20 in the 3rd, but then the Knicks just slowly chip away. They got it down to single digits in the 4th, even took the lead with just over 4 minutes to go. Eventually we go to overtime, and the Knicks prevail when Mikal Bridges just yanks the ball away from Jaylen Brown on that final possession. Completely shocking win for the Knicks. You're down 20 in the second half against a team that swept you in the regular season in their gym, and you somehow get the win. But still, the sentiment was like, the Celtics missed 45 threes, played one of their worst games of the year, and you barely beat them in overtime.
The sentiment was the Celtics played really stupid situational basketball.
Exactly.
Why are you still chucking up threes like 6 or 7 seconds into the shot clock when you're up 20? Like Derek White especially chucked up just some baffling 3-point attempts. It's like, I know it's who you are, right? 3-pointers, but like understand time and score. But, I felt like the Celtics would respond in game 2. Again, not to take anything away from the Knicks, but it felt like Boston lost the game more than New York actually won it. But somehow, basically the exact same thing happened. Now, the Celtics go up 20 again. I mean, there was a point where Luke Cornett got a dunk with like 4 minutes to go in the 3rd, put him up 18. At that point, I left to go play basketball at the gym. right?
Yeah.
I'll circle back to that in a second because it gets funny. But, Celtics are up 18. Seems like there's no way they're going to choke it. Knicks close it down to 12 going into the fourth. And then the fourth, Mikal and Jalen Brunson combined for 23 points. And the Jays combined for just 4. And I mean, I was out on the court like getting ready to play a game because we had already played one. And I was like, oh, let me just check the Knicks Celtics score. And I check it and the Knicks are back up. I'm just like, how the So like before the game started, like a bunch of people are just crowding around me looking at my phone, checking the score. The game starts and then the guy who's guarding me is a Knicks fan. So at one point on the last possession, everyone's on the other side of the court playing ball and we're just down at the opposite end watching the game. And it ends, Bridges gets the steal again and this guy just like starts jumping up and down on the court.
That's incredible.
It was great.
And then, to circle back to the Jason Tatum playoffs take, dude was ass.
Terrible.
13 points on 19 shots, had that one last possession where he drives in, doesn't know what to do, like throws the ball, tries to make a pass at the end.
Deer in headlights.
Yeah, just an awful moment. That take was looking terrible. You even texted me in the group chat we have with our friends, like, that take is on life support.
And you doubled down on it.
I basically doubled down. I said, Celtics are still winning this in 6. And I still believe that. I believe that after game 2. I believe it after game 3. We'll see what happens tonight, but had to double down on that. Anyways, though, some of the takes we heard after this game, honestly, were just insane. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I saw this one Celtics fan on Twitter. Maybe he was joking, but he said, we need a real winner back as our coach. We need to bring Doc back.
Yeah, because Doc's doing so well in Milwaukee.
Right.
That's some fucking Stockholm syndrome if I've ever seen it. Dear God.
You had Kendrick Perkins, who, of course, is known for great NBA takes, said this series was over. The Celtics would be lucky to win one game. I guess they're lucky because they just won a game.
I mean, my favorite was Paul Pierce walking 20 miles to work after he said there was no chance the Celtics would lose game 2.
Honestly, completely respect that. Usually you hear people, if this happens, I'll do this. Dude stuck to his guns and literally did it.
What else was there? There was Nick Wright's Jason Tatum is the Kobe Bryant of Paul George's.
That was hilarious.
That was funny. That was good.
So just crazy stuff going on. Reports of if the Celtics lose this series, maybe they're going to overhaul the roster, which is pretty extreme. I know financially, maybe they would have to if they can't compete with these guys, but just a lot of crazy stuff going on. That brings us to game 3, the most anticipated game in Madison Square Garden in over 20 years.
Since the 99 finals.
Yeah. And the Celtics just dominated like immediately out the gate. They looked like the Celtics we had seen all year. The team that won the title last season, up 16 after the first, pushed it to 20 at halftime, led by over 30 at one point in the third. I know you mentioned there was still like a little bit like, are they going to choke this again? Like,
I will say,
in the back of your mind.
During the second quarter, I was like, okay, this is not looking good for the Knicks. But games 1 and 2 also didn't look good for the Knicks. I was like, let's see how it plays out. And then it got to the third quarter, it got up to 30, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty much over. There was a brief moment in the fourth quarter where they got it down, I think, to 20. They hit back-to-back threes. And you know what? They got a couple stops in a row after that. They just couldn't score. Yeah. I was like, Knicks, you're playing well on defense. You just can't get good shots on offense.
Peyton Pritchard, incredible off the bench, led them in scoring.
He was hitting there was one bullshit shot he hit. I think it was over OG Anunoby. It was like a fadeaway or something. Had no business making it, and he swished it.
Yeah, I don't even get how good he is, but somehow he just does it. Tatum wasn't like amazing, but I thought he played pretty well. And then Derek White, Brown, Horford all had good games. So Celtics still really need to win game 4 to get a grip back on this series. But what do you think? After 3 games, the chokes and then a dominant win, how you feeling for the rest of this series?
The thing that's so interesting is the Knicks were up 2-0, but game 1, again, the Celtics kind of just lost because they played bad situational basketball. And game 2, they lost because they went 8 minutes just out of nowhere without hitting a field goal, which is like, okay, how often are either of those things going to happen again, right? Can you count on one of those things to happen again? Game 3, it didn't happen, and we saw the result. The Celtics blew out the Knicks. So as much as I still want to believe in the Knicks, because, you know, they still have game 4 on their home court. Although weirdly enough, they kind of suck on their home court in the playoffs.
I guess every team sucks on their home court in the playoffs.
Someone might need to look into this, but just with the way the wind is blowing, and things can change quickly in the playoffs, as we've seen, it does seem like the Celtics are going to win game 4, are going to win game 5, and are probably going to win game 6. I would like to think otherwise, but man, like, barring just a cataclysmic event by the Celtics, it doesn't seem like the Knicks can hang.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Obviously, tonight is going to be the game that kind of decides the series in some ways. I still think, like I said, Celtics in 6, but we're going to see tonight who's going to win. So what do you guys think after 3 games? Are you picking the Celtics? Do you like the Knicks? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and hey, while you're here, check out some of our other content as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.